This is the new ByCity Rider Helmet, and if you think it looks a little bit familiar, then well, you'd be right. It definitely takes some styling cues from the showy Glamster. However, the Rider comes with an additional dark visor in the box, as well as a removable peak. It's priced at just £199, so is this budget-friendly retro helmet any good? Let's find out. At first glance, when I pulled this out of the box, I thought this has definitely got a bit of showy Glamster about it, maybe with a bit of Arrow Rapide thrown in for good measure. There are, though, to be fair, some of ByCity's own styling cues, and overall it's a nice looking helmet. This little panel in the back is a nice sort of accent, and you've got this little shaped kind of indentation in the top as well. It's a pretty good looking thing. The Rider is an ECE 2206 certified helmet, and it offers a fiberglass shell with just two shell sizes covering extra small through to extra large, which is not unusual for budget helmets, to be fair, and occasionally you will see that in much higher priced premium helmets too. The visors are pin lock ready, but unfortunately one of those doesn't come in the box with it. That's something you have to pay extra for. There's a closable vent on the brow, and these chin vents can also be closed off via a lever inside the chin guard. 3 ports take care of exiting air out of the back, 1 large exit in the centre and 2 lower down, all of which are permanently open. The visor does have a thumb latch on either side, and there is a weather seal around the aperture of the eye port. The visor itself, though, is a little bit fiddly to fix. More on that later on. The lining of the helmet is surprisingly plush, with a chin sock that also has an opening for something like a drinks tube. In fact, it's a lining that wouldn't really feel out of place on a helmet that cost twice as much. The interior is removable for washing. There is also a removable breath card in the front of the helmet, and the fastening is a good old-fashioned dependable double D-ring. Sizing, I would say, is pretty accurate. I'm normally a large in every single helmet I try, so I plumped for a large in this and it fits okay. I would probably describe this as an intermediate oval shape. I think I tend to towards long oval, but yeah, it was okay with this. A little bit snugger than I was expecting, but no problems at all. The helmet weighs in at just under 1500 grams, which for this size large isn't bad at all. So that's enough of the tech specs. What's it actually like to use out on the bike? Well, I'd say it was pretty damn good. The overall fit was good for me, perhaps a little more snug than I would choose, but it wasn't uncomfortable, it didn't give me any hot spots, and it was pretty roomy in the chin bar too. Because it was snug, it proved to be a reasonably quiet helmet, certainly not up there with the best, but no different from the Glamster that it apes. Maybe even a little quieter. I did get a little bit of wind noise whistling around the visor at speed, but it wasn't really that problematic. However, the visor fitting mechanism is, in my opinion, a bit of a woeful design. Why is that? Well, the side covers are fitted with 2 Allen key bolts. Nothing unusual in that. You see that a lot on other helmets. However, in the wisdom of the ByCity designers, they decided to use 2 different size Allen keys, which means if you're out on the road and you want to switch from the light to the dark, you've got to have both of those Allen keys available. Not that much of a hindrance, but really, why did they need to do it? Once you've undone the side covers, swapping the visor is very easy, but for me, those 2 different size bolts are just a little bit of an oversight. Whilst we're talking about the visor, I also wasn't that impressed with the way that it fitted. There are 2 pins that it clips onto, but I would like a bit more of a positive closing click. It's all a little bit vague. Although the seal around the eye port is pretty good, to get the visor to seat properly on it, it takes quite a bit of a tug to make sure that it does sit down. And if it doesn't sit properly on that seal, then rain will run down the inside of the visor. Obviously, if you don't fit a pin lock to this helmet, then it will fog like crazy in lower temperatures and or wet weather. The ventilation itself isn't too bad, and the fact that you can close all of these vents means that it is a helmet that is viable to wear all year round in the UK. I do question if this top vent would work better if fitted up the other way. This little central tab in the middle here looks like it deflects air away from these holes, where if that was flipped around the other way, it would maybe help direct it into them. But again, that could, I suspect, make the helmet a little bit more noisy. Having said that, I'm not sure this £199 helmet went through wind tunnel testing. The other good news about the vents is that they all have mesh behind them, which will prevent bugs and debris from entering the helmet. Now, turning to the peak, again, that fixing issue rears its ugly head. The two different bolts, two different sizes. As I said, two bolts, not necessarily a problem. Two different sizes just makes it a bit of a pain. But I think this is a bit more of an aesthetic choice for the helmet, as I didn't really get that much out of it from a practical point of view on the bike. In my opinion, it sits a little bit too high on the helmet, so on the occasions when you do want to use it as a sunshade, particularly as the sun's getting lower, you do have to tilt your head forward quite a way to make it worthwhile, and when you're doing that, you're obviously reducing your view down the road. When I was riding the Africa Twin, the visor resonated to a point that became unbearable, regardless of the position of the screen or the speed I was riding. On a naked bike it's better, but not much, to be honest. It's just too flimsy and it feels like a bit of an afterthought. From my point of view, once you take this out of the box, just lob it straight in the bin. Overall, it's a pretty comfortable helmet. It looks good and it's well balanced on the bike at speed. It's relatively quiet too, and it does have a very nice interior, particularly when you consider the price for this helmet. So it does have some nice features. The peak, though, is just not one of them. At £199, it offers good value for money, and if you're looking for a retro styled full face helmet as an alternative to some of the others on the marketplace, then I think you can't really go too wrong with this. It does of course have some failings, but given its price, I can excuse those. So I hope this was a useful walkthrough of the ByCity Rider helmet. If you do have any questions about it, then please let me know in the comments section down below. If you like my content, then a like and subscribe is gratefully appreciated, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you are notified when new videos come through. There's a surprisingly, for me, small amount of my subscribers that actually click that notification bell, and it really does help the visibility of my channel. So until next time, all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.